Hello everyone and welcome back to another Dr. Stone Battlecraft video. We have a unit that I've been anticipating for a very long time. I didn't know she was going to come to game this early. I thought we was going to take another year or so for this character to arrive at the pace we're going in Battlecraft. But we finally have Kohaku from when she had her final fight with Yoga and Tsukasa against, what's his face? Stanley. This is when she destroys that guy's radio. And this character, they did her justice. At first, I thought, when I saw the in-game name, when we got the data download, I saw Last Stand Kohaku. I thought this was going to be a Treasure Island Kohaku when she does fight against Moz. But this is so much better. This character is one of a kind, quite the interesting character. And I would say there is an argument for her being one of the best, if not the best character in Battlecraft. So if you are considering starting this game, now is the time. She's here for one more week. After that, she'll only come back in a few months as a revival character, but of course she is debuting right now. She is going to leave on the 27th, so as soon as the ranking event Minami, which is a revival ranking event. I'm surprised she came alongside a revival event, not a rival event character. But either way, we're going to talk about this character. I do have her on this account. I played this account quite a bit. I did end up getting a second Kohaku, so actually a third Kohaku. I have 3 Kohakus on this account. Of course, I need one more copy to get her to her second skill level, and I have figured out how good she is with dupes. What increase in her skills does she get? What exact numbers does she get from having duplicates, and is it worth pulling for her for extra copies? Because you should be pulling at least for 1 copy. She has incredible value even if you don't have any duplicates. So let's talk about her. But first off, just a few of her statistics. At level 100, first off, you can't see it because my head is in the way, but she is a 100 resource cost unit, so a lot cheaper than the recent characters we've gotten. Last month we got the New Year's Horse Ryusui. He is a 150 resource unit, so he's much more expensive, understandably, but I think this character for 100 resource is quite cheap to get her started, get her out on the battlefield. So SSR Last Stand Kohaku. This is her artwork, of course you can see on the thumbnail. So she is a fighter. So in Battlecraft, the way that units are positioned, fighters are behind tanks. Fighters are the units that are at the front most. They are quite close to the front lines. Assault units stand a bit behind them, and then of course ranged units stand quite a far away, with support units right at the back. So fighter units, Kohaku is going to be quite in the front, which is quite important for what she does. So she at level 100, rank 5, and mind you, it's very easy to get her rank up items. Any day where the fighter awakening stones are available, items are available. No, anytime the support, so the support island here that comes around at least 3 times every week, you can get Kohaku's shield. So it's quite easy. Even if you start the game now, you should be able to get all the rank up materials for her in terms of her special items anyways. You can get that in like 3 weeks if you start now. It's very easy. Just start playing the game. But Kohaku, her stats at max, level 100, rank 5, is going to be 80, 150 attack. I mean HP. Attack would be crazy. HP, that's pretty good. That's very good for a fighter character. She has 5500, almost 5600 attack. So that is quite important. At face value, it's really good for a fighter character. But if it was just for that stat, I wouldn't really say she's like top tier or anything, because we do have a lot of fighter characters that have this attack stat, such as Encountering the Beast Tsukasa, which I didn't mention in a previous video. But then we go to her other metrics, her movement speed, action speed, and toughness. Wow, okay. So first off, she has a very fast movement speed, which is, I mean, it's a trait that every single Kohaku character in the game has. They always have a very fast movement speed, which is usually not good, because usually you send out Kohaku, first character, she runs towards the enemy, she charges towards them, and then she gets one tapped. A good example of this is the makeup Kohaku when she got dressed up for Treasure Island. That character is the perfect example of a Kohaku that just runs into the battlefield and dies immediately. Of course, you don't want it to happen. She usually gets sent out before the tank, which is a bit of a problem. But this Kohaku, it's a different thing. A very fast movement speed is so good, because she can handle herself. Then we have her action speed, fast action speed for 5500 attack. A fast action speed is incredible. Like, I don't think we've seen a single fighter character in the game that has 5600 attack with a very fast, a fast action speed. It's always slow or very slow. Encountering the beast Tsukasa, which I mentioned earlier, he has run about the same attack as Kohaku here, but he has a very slow action speed. Now, mind you, he is a area attacker, but I think this is much more valuable because you do have those very tanky enemies, and being able to attack those guys more frequently. You don't need area attack for that. You need area attack for fighting fodder mobs. So of course, you probably do want to run a area attacker with Kohaku, but you don't need it. Kohaku herself can handle both a lot of mobs because she attacks them very fast. She'll like move through them, defeat them quickly. And then even for the big bad boss, which is going to have a lot of HP and defense, she will destroy them as well with her fast action speed. But in my opinion, yeah, high attack and fast action speed with a single target attacking, it's better than area attack with a very slow action speed. I mean, both of them have their place, but I do think this Kohaku has her merit for sure. But this is the part that surprised me the most, and that makes this Kohaku so good, besides her skills, which we'll talk about in a moment. She has very toughness. Now, this is the first we've ever seen in Battlecraft. Fighter characters always have a weak toughness. Tanks have a toughness of tough. This is usually what you see at the maximum. Toughness of tough here for all these tank characters. You'll never see very tough. But then we have this Kohaku who has... Also, I didn't even talk about her defense. She also has a really powerful defense. 1700. That's as good as any tank. But it's even better, which we'll talk about in a moment, because of her skill 1. But yeah, this character, bro, Matsukaze level. So very toughness. It means that she will never get pushed back. Now this has a lot of implications. One, she'll be dealing a lot more damage over time, because when the enemy knocks you back, the attack is delayed. So the fact that she's not getting pushed back at all, it means her attacks go uninterrupted. She's going to be dealing 5,500 damage at a fast action speed without getting interrupted at all. So even the lion mob, usually tanks still get pushed back by that big lion mob you'll see at the end of most battles, especially in ranking events. There's always a lion at the end when you get to the final wave. So she can just tank those hits. She will not get pushed back whatsoever. So she'll be sent out extremely quick because she's low resource cost. She has a very fast movement speed, and since she's very tough, she will stop the enemy from progressing. So yeah, her metrics, her stats, everything is incredible here. The only thing is she's not an area attacker, but let's be real, that would have made her too overpowered. She also has a very powerful leader skill. All ally action speed increased by 25% for 10 seconds. For 25%, especially since it's to all allies, not just fighters, you'd usually expect 5 seconds. So 10 seconds, that is incredible. So she has definitely a usable, not just usable, but an incredible leader skill. Then her skills, this is the one that sells it. Characters can have incredible stats, metrics, leader skills. They can be area attackers, but if their skills suck, it's gonna make them not that good. A good example is encountering the beast Tsukasa. And I'm using him as an example a lot, but he has incredible stats. He's an area attacker, but his skills are so trash, bro. But Kohaku, this character is so interesting. So if she herself has above 25% HP, she increases her own defense by 100%. So she's a tank. You don't need a tank. She herself is the tank. She's also a fighter character, so she's dealing a lot of damage. She's your main damage per second, and she's your main tank. Because defense is probably the most important metric for a tank type unit. Because every attack that the enemy hits you with, it has to get past the defense. So with 100% increase in her defense, it gets her up to about a 3,500 defense, which is the best in the game. Hands down, it's the best in the game. We had Matsukaze 2 months ago. He was the best tank. Well, I'd still say he's the best dedicated tank. Overall, I'd say he's better than this Kohaku as a tank. But his defense is not as high. Yes, his HP is 18,000 when he's maxed, or I think almost 20,000, which is way higher than Kohaku's. But mind you, if an enemy does 3,500 damage, it will count as 0 damage to Kohaku because of her defense. So the only mobs that will actually do any damage would be like the lions, those main big characters that are gonna come in at the end. They will deal damage, yes, to Kohaku, but it'll be much less because of her defense. And then you can just have good healers. Now, what you could actually do with Kohaku is you could have her as the leader and just run 5 support units behind her. I've tried it before, I'll show you in a moment how it works. But if you do that, she won't die because she's getting such little damage taken to her because of her defense. And then the support units will just heal her back up as soon as she loses HP. So as a tank, this character has so much merit. And then when she falls below 25%, she'll get a 500% increase in her attack, which brings her up to 35,000, I think. No, it brings up to 32,000, I think. I've calculated it before. 32,000. 32,000, I think almost 32,500 actually. That's the highest attack stat in the game. We had Lock On Stanley, which is he's a ranged character who has, I think, a 25,000 attack stat, but he only attacks every like 20 seconds to 30 seconds, I think. Kohaku attacks every second, right? So you can see where I'm coming from. Now, that isn't as good as it seems because remember, she'll lose the defense, so she's gonna die quick. Once she falls below 25% HP, she'll be very quick to die because she'll be back to a 1700 defense, which is still not bad, but she won't last long. So in the ideal situation, you have a very good support characters behind her, and then the second she falls under 25% HP, she will, like, remember, she's a very fast action speed, so when she has that 32,500 attack stat, she's going to be attacking the enemy very fast, which means that she's going to one-tap most people, 2-tap at the very worst. So all you need is those healers to sustain her long enough under 25% HP before she dies, which I've seen happen before. I've seen her hit a solid like 6 attacks before she dies once she falls under 25%, and that was without rank 5. So and level 100. My Kohaku on this account is not very leveled or like max powered as she could be, and I've seen what she can do. So at first I was thinking, okay, maybe it's not that good because yes, she does have that massive attack increase, but one, that's at max skill. If you start off with no dupes, she is a 50% defense and a 200% attack increase under 25%, which is still like it's still great. Like, she's worth running even with that, but it's definitely different from 500% because if she's dying, you need her to take out most of the enemies, because then the rest of your team will get annihilated when she's dead. So you need her to have that 500% attack when she does fall under 25%. But after testing, I've seen how she can handle herself, how much damage she does even with only a skill level 2 and low level, low rank. She's handling herself. So do I think you should pull for her? Yes. Do I think you should get 1 dupe at least? Yes. After that, I think, especially if you are someone who doesn't spend money on the game, 1 dupe is enough, because you get to 300%. No, you get to 200%. Because my Kohaku, I've given 1 dupe in level 2, has 300% attack. You start off at 200%. With one dupe, you get to 300%. With another 2 dupes, you get to 400%. And with... Wait. You get 50% attack per dupe. Or skill level up, should I say. So she starts off... Let me just be careful about this. She starts off with 250% attack, yeah? 250% attack, 50% defense. Skill level 2, 60% defense, 300% attack. Skill level 3, 70% defense, 350% attack. Skill level 4. Skill level 4 would be 400% attack and 80% defense. Now that's skill level 3. Skill level 4 would be... There might be a jump actually. Now that I'm trying to think about this in my head, there might be a jump. Let me just think for a moment. Because obviously you need more dupes once you get to the highest skills. You need 4 dupes to go from skill level 4 to skill level 5. So there might be like 100% increase from 4 to 5 just to make it worth it for whales. Yeah, I think that's how it is. From skill level 4 to skill level 5, it's a 100% increase in attack and a 20% increase in defense. So if you are a whale, definitely make sure you max her out. Like if you're someone who spends like a shit ton of money on this game, make sure you max her out because she has quite a value in getting her maxed out. Now this account I originally made to get Kohaku and this Kinro because he goes quite well with Kohaku. He increases her attack and also her movement speed, which is, I mean, increasing a character with very fast movement speed, increasing their movement speed even more. I mean, Kohaku just blitzes across the battlefield. Of course, you do need to summon Kinro first for his skills to become active, and then Kohaku will move faster. I've tested it out, that's how it works. So, unfortunately, this Kinro is gone. He's a great partner for Kohaku, but I don't think you should run any fighter characters besides Kohaku, because remember, all of your fighter characters will be on the front line with assault characters a bit behind them and then ranged characters even further away. So if you put Kinro on the field with Kohaku, he tends to die because the enemy's attacks will hit him because he's so close to them. He stands neck and neck with Kohaku on the battlefield. So I think with Kohaku, you want to run assault units, but most importantly, I think ranged characters, because it's still possible for enemies that have area attack to hit the assault characters, but they clearly won't die as quick as other fighter characters. But I think if you want to be safe, run Kohaku with 2 ranged characters and then 3 supports. I'd say that's the best bet. What you could also do is just run a 4th attacker, because remember Kohaku is the tank. She's the tank and she's also the she's a DPS, she's a damage per second character. So that gives you so much leeway. You get an extra slot in the crew, because what you're supposed to usually run is 2 tanks, 3 damage units and 1 support. But what we can do instead is we can run Kohaku, 2 other damage units and then 3 supports. Yeah, because you're supposed to run 2 tanks, because usually their defense isn't that good, so they can't tank the hits. So they need a second tank to help and come in when the first tank dies. So, unfortunately, if you do run an actual tank with Kohaku, that tank will stand in front of Kohaku and she won't really act as a tank until the main tank dies. But if you're on like a very difficult piece of content where you do need to have 2 tanks, you can just run Kohaku with another tank, and that should be enough. Kohaku will last long enough for the other tank to come back in. So even if you aren't using her for her incredible attack when she falls under 25%, the other tank will come in and save her when she falls under 25%. You'll get a few hits in with that 500% attack, and she won't die because the other tank will come in to save her. So I think it's beneficial to run another tank with her, but in most content, she can just be the tank herself. You can run 3 other units with her that deal damage, and then 2 support characters. Ideally, these 2 in Ruri and in Yuzuriya. The reason is that Kohaku will get her defense increased by Yuzuriya by 27%, and Ruri will decrease the enemy's attack, which will also contribute to the enemy not being able to pierce Kohaku's defense. So if you run characters that have that increase Kohaku's defense and decrease enemy attack, it will help Kohaku to never take damage. Like if you run a full support composition, you just run Kohaku with all of the Ruris and all the Yuzuriyas, even the strongest enemies will not do any damage because of Kohaku's defense. This is all with max Kohaku in mind, so most people will not be able to ever touch that, but I mean, it's insane to think about, because you could probably solo every single piece of content in the game. Yes, your runs will be like 10 minutes for like incredibly difficult content like the challenge of the primitive world, which we have up right now, but it will be a surefire victory because Kohaku is the only character in the game that can't get pushed back by any character, any mob. Nothing will be able to push her back, so your base is safe. And if you buff Kohaku's defense and lower enemies' attack, they just won't deal any damage, or the damage will be so insignificant that the support will just heal it back instantly. So she's one of a kind. I feel like there's never going to be a character that does what she does ever again. Of course, I would save for after you get her. I mean, what you could try to do, what I'm trying to do, which I will make for another video, is I'm trying to get Kohaku to max, which is 11 copies of her. It's only possible for a free-to-play player to do that on a new account because of how many free gems you get at the start. What I'm trying to do is get a reroll with at least 2 Kohakus to start off with. This account was a reroll that had 2 Kohakus on the free multi you get at the start. I got 2 Kohakus. Then I did a multi for Kinner, I think. The first multi I got him. No, I did single pulls. You should do single pulls. Another topic for another video, but if you are not chasing dupes for a character, single pulls, it's going to save you so much gems. If you are going for dupes, then yeah, until you get the very last dupe, you should be doing multi-pulls just to make it quick. The main reason is that you get a guaranteed SR character, which it's hard to level up SR characters with dupes, so if your SR character is Ruri or Yuzuriya, it's quite valuable. But otherwise, single pulls, if you're not going for dupes, you should be doing it. You can save so many gems. If you get them on your first single, you'll save 2,700 gems, right? That's almost a whole month's worth of gems in this game. That's all I'm saying. So I'm extremely excited about this character. What I'll try to do is, if I can get Kohaku maxed in 100 pulls on an account, then I think that will be like super solid. Because I mean, it's impossible to get Kohaku every multi, right? But if I do a reroll that gets 2 Kohakus with the first free multi, which each reroll takes less than a minute, mind you, on this game, so it's very easy. And Kohaku is a 50% chance if an SSR character appears. 50% chance is trash. Well, there's a lot of good premium recruit characters from the standard pool that you could get, but anything besides Kohaku we don't want to see. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go for two Kohakus on the first free multi. I've said that multiple times now. And then I need another 9 copies. So if I can get a Kohaku every multi, that will get me to her maxed, which is not practical, right? It's very quick. If you start a new account, you can do your free multi at the start. Within 5 minutes, you can get, or 10 minutes, I think, you can get to your next free multi with how easy you get gems at the start. Then if I get Kohaku from that, then I continue on with the account. And then the third multi I also need to get Kohaku. Beyond that, the gems are much harder to get, but even if you get a dead multi every so often, you'll still have a very solid foundation, and you won't waste a lot of time if you make sure that those foundations are strong, which take you very quick to get past, to get those free multis at the start. Then after that, a dead multi every so often wouldn't be too bad. Remember, she is going to leave in about a week, so I want to get an account with her maxed, because just it's incredible that this unit even exists. Also, by the way, ignore Maz. He's trash. Trash. He's an assault character. He's a decent assault character. He's not bad. He's not trash. But compared to Kohaku, he's a background character, right? So I've done 54 pulls on this account. I actually abandoned it, but I just came back for this video. I did 54 pulls, only got 3 Kohakus. It's nowhere near good enough. I think to the point where we get the sulfur drug, I think that gets us to 100 pulls. So if I can get to the sulfur drug on multiple accounts, surely one of them will get Kohaku maxed. But I will journal that on another video. But now this video's already been 25 minutes. Go pull Kohaku. If you are starting this game, go pull her, get at least 1 copy. As I said, even 1 copy. She's a top tier character. But those dupes, man, those dupes are valuable. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. I'm out. Make sure to like and subscribe.